What is up, everybody? It is your boys KB and KB back at it with another episode of the Breezy Briefs show. Um, Blake, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I was ecstatic. I was elated. I was happy. And then I was immediately saddened seeing things that we're going to talk about in this podcast tonight, specifically the Dragon Ball side. You about to, ooh, then them 5Ls are coming, bro. We gonna get into that. Those 5Ls. Online is gonna be garbage
What do you
next week.
mean?
It's gonna be terrible. Dragon Ball Online is gonna be cancer next week, Doug.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This
You
will be
know
a
it's saying
wonderful
that 'cause you
place
got a lot
for
of
me.
monsters.
Wonderful place for me.
Mm-mm.
So first on the list, I wanted to touch on. So Street Fighter is now free on PS Plus for the month. It is one of the free months, or free games for the month. For the month of, what is it, September?
Yep.
It's already halfway through the fucking month of September, dude. Holy shit.
Hey man, that's fine with me. 2020 can go away as soon as possible.
But since it's a free game, a lot of people are downloading it. And a tweet I saw, what was it, like a week ago? I sent it to you, maybe.
Yeah, about a week.
It showed that the player base has grown, like I think it was 2 million or something like that,
Yes, sir.
which is fucking outrageous for this game that is 4 years old, almost 5.
Actually, well, going on 5.
Yeah, it came out after we graduated, right?
Yep. Street Fighter 5 is nearly. I want after this winter. Once we get into the spring, well, yeah. Once 2020 is over, it'll have been 5 years because it came out in holiday season of 2015,
Damn.
going into 2016.
But yeah, it shows that the game is hopefully alive and well. Hopefully the 2 million people that have downloaded the game are sticking around.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're all new players. Hopefully it's not just PC players buying it on PlayStation. Finally.
I don't think see this is the thing. I don't even want to say if we wank the PC player base, 2 million PC players would want to even download Street Fighter 5 on their PS5.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
So I look at it as a positive that Street Fighter is still a household name, and people want to play a Street Fighter game, or at least try a Street Fighter.
Yeah. Hopefully that's what it is. Hopefully that's what it is.
So I'm hoping, even if we're lucky, right, and we say let's be like real low ball and say only 250,000, 250,000, right, are new people, completely new to fighting games, and they heard of Street Fighter. I think that's still really good. That shows that interest for the IP is strong, and that interest hopefully is still there when Street Fighter 6 drops. And double hopefully, Street Fighter 6 has a decent tutorial or way to train up new players. I think the future tutorials is even more prevalent if those players decide to come back and give a Street Fighter 6 a shot.
Yeah. Hopefully. Street Fighter 5 I think is in a good place right now gameplay wise anyway, compared to where it was at launch.
Oh yeah.
At launch it was a boring ass game, I'm not gonna lie. Somehow we still played it.
It was the only experience though. We didn't know any better. That was the fighting game at the time,
It's crazy to think about that Street Fighter 5 sucking at launch is what got everyone to start playing different games.
Yeah, because you got to think Street Fighter 4 was entertaining, regardless of how you felt about it. If you were deep into the scene at the time, whether you didn't like online or tournament scenes or Elena healing, regardless of that, Street Fighter 4 was the fighting game. No one was playing anything besides Street Fighter if you got into that first. It took Street Fighter 5 sucking for people to try fighting games and go like, well, Street Fighter 5 is terrible. What else can I play? And then anime games were just sitting right there looking pretty like, hey, we have good netcode or really good Discord servers and good tutorials to teach people how to play the game.
And hey, we kind of have Street Fighter-esque gameplay,
Yeah.
A little footsie-based.
Anime was like, hey, it's not all just Blaze Blue and Rainbows, guys. We have variety. There's a lot of different types of anime, actually.
Guilty Gear Xrd.
Exactamundo.
But yeah, just to kind of wrap that up, we hope the 2 million players that have fucking downloaded Street Fighter on PlayStation now are sticking around. Hope you guys are enjoying the game. Hope you guys stick around in the FGC. We kind of need new people at the moment with all the bullshit that's been happening, but
Yeah, I mean, worst case, end up fighting like Punk, the God, or Daigo the Beast, Umehara, round one because they're smurfing or training up a new character or profile for the sake of a YouTube series. But you know, that's not everyone. So give it go.
Jesus.
If you get bodied by a Smurf, it's not gonna be the only one. But hey, hopefully they leave.
It won't be the last time, but you know.
Yeah, maybe it'll be, but Smurf at least they'll have a LAN connection. You know, it'll be a good, solid, stable match. Won't be on Wi-Fi.
Speaking of Wi-Fi, which I don't know if that was intentional, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute alley-oop.
Speaking of Wi-Fi, I want to say it was last week as well. A thing, I think it was like an article or a column that was written by Sakurai answering some questions. Sakurai being the main creative developer or whatever. I don't know what his fucking title is for Super Smash Brothers. You know, he had a nice little column where he kind of addressed some things about the game, and he talked about Wi-Fi indicators and talked about how he doesn't want to add a Wi-Fi indicator in this Ultimate because it would cause LAN players to decline matches with Wi-Fi players. That's the point. That's what we want it for. We want, you know, a nice connection between, you know, random people that we play online, you know, in For Glory or whatever it's called now.
No, it's still For Glory.
Oh, is it? I thought they changed the name.
Actually, I take it back now. It's Elite Smash.
Yeah, Elite Smash.
Technically Elite Smash. But, yo, I just love how not only did this lead to a complete and utter dumpster fire of bigotry and people talking over each other.
Yeah, so
it was dumb because every time the statement was released, it was a different translation, and each translation was followed up by another PR individual saying, "Sorry guys, that last official translation of Sakurai's words was incorrect. Here's a also more believable."
Yeah, no, the crazy thing was they were doing that, right? But they were saying the same exact shit.
Exactly. Like every translation led to a flame war in like the thread, but then the PR department was like, "Oh shoot, that led to a flame war. Let's say it was a bad translation and get another one." Or I know I'm well aware Japanese to English is a very almost impossible thing to convey 100% what you're trying to say to the other language because they don't mix that well. But
like, bro,
you can't
make
release like 3 or 4 translations of something a man said, and then each time you release that translation, go like, "Oh no, they didn't say that right. That was wrong. No, not that one. This one." It's almost as if you wrote an essay, you wrote a paper, and every time you got less than a C, you were like, "Oh, that's the wrong essay. That's the right one. I gave you the wrong copy." You know, and you still getting a C. A C is a C. A crappy statement is a crappy statement, guys. No matter how much you try to retranslate that, it's still crappy.
So everything kind of popped off when Sajam tweeted something about it, which he said what I said when I said this was, that's the point. Just taking that little snippet of what Sakurai said, which, like Malik said, caused a dumpster fire to occur in Sajam's mentions of that tweet. Bro, I have not seen so many advocates for Wi-Fi in my entire life. It's wild. You know, you got the FGC and you got the Smash community. Like, I don't think there's a lot of I mean, obviously, I think, you know, shooters have like, oh, this is the COD community, this is CS:GO community, but like, there's at least I feel like they're on the same page with some things, you know.
Yeah.
Where like the FGC and the Smash community, like you'd be like, oh no, they're the same thing, you know. Some people would say that, but I have never seen so polar opposite thoughts on netcode in my entire life, or just being like Wi-Fi or LAN user. And it's just,
you know, part of me wants to go to another major tournament whenever we are able to have tournaments again, and just immediately ask people, huh?
I meant Ethernet. I don't know why I said LAN.
Same difference, bro.
Same thing. Fuck it.
Same thing. It don't matter. Anyway, like the idea of, had we been at, like, rewind the clock back to Evo, right? On that Evo trip, what would have happened if I interviewed Smash players and asked them, what do you feel about rollback? What do you feel about better netcode or a Wi-Fi indicator, or only using LAN connectors, Ethernet for your Switch? And I'm curious if those people would say, "Oh yeah, I'm all for it," or they'd immediately be upset with me saying, "Why on God's earth would I ever want Sakurai to
Why
make
would
me
I want to play on Ethernet?
Why would I want to pay less than $15 for something I could use? Why would I pay twice the cost of the game to get a decent experience from the game if I'm already putting up with a mediocre to lesser experience on Wi-Fi? You know?
The funniest shit.
Go ahead.
The funniest shit out of all of this, dude, was the people going, well, Wi-Fi players are the majority, but, you know, we don't want to get denied matches when they find out we're playing on Wi-Fi. Well, motherfucker, if you find out that they're playing, you know, if you're playing on Wi-Fi and you get matched up with other Wi-Fi players, you probably won't get denied.
Dog,
and that's going to be a majority of the time.
This is the thing, right? If you were the majority, and that means you're going to find someone of equal likeness. You're going to find an equal-minded individual that's stubborn and doesn't want to buy anything to get a wired connection. You're fine. And then these are the ones that killed me. The ones that killed me the most were the ones saying, I don't want a Wi-Fi indicator because that would mean I'm going to have less good matches because the LAN connected people won't play me anymore. In that moment, I'm thinking, just like a few other content creators, you are so close to having the realization, oh my God, maybe I should just get a LAN adapter too.
Yeah, that was the funny thing, dude. It's like, man, I don't want to be playing the people saying, I play on Wi-Fi, but I don't want to play Wi-Fi players. I have a better connection when I play against the Ethernet players. I'm like, excuse me?
That means you're not trying to make a solution available to you, but you want to be part of the problem, but you want to point the finger at you're part of the problem.
I'm just like,
if you're Wi-Fi players saying Wi-Fi players are trash, then why are you still a Wi-Fi player when you have the choice not to be a trash Wi-Fi player? You have options, bro.
Like,
don't do it to yourself.
It's like, brother, like, you gotta be, oh my God.
And this is the thing, right? I don't want this to come into a elitist perspective like you got to be LAN or nothing. I'm saying you have more than one option besides plugging a cable to the box that gives you the access to the internet. There are multiple options you can pursue to get a better connection that aren't that. I use a couple of them. I've used a couple of them. One of them, power line adapter, bro. Like, figure it out, bro. Figure it out.
So, I have a question, because I don't play Smash. And I don't play Smash online.
Yes.
I don't know if you play online against randoms.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so I want to ask you this question, because I saw this in a tweet, and I said, there's no way that's fucking true. But, you know, I'll find out in the episode so we can have my genuine reaction. Is it true that there is no decline match option?
No, there is not. You put yourself in a queue. You. This is the thing, Dustin. You go on to your Nintendo Switch. You click online. You say, I want to play a seriously competitive match, right? And there's toggles in the menu saying, what would you like to do? What would you not like to do? Do you want it to be a stock match, a timed match? Do you want it to be, you know, this type of stages? Do you want items on or off? And those aren't guidelines like, okay, the things you set in that toggle menu are what you're going to play. It's, okay, now the game is going to search for someone who is close to the things you're looking for. Meaning you might match up with someone, even though you want to play Fox-only Final Destination. You might play against a Luigi main who wants items on, and you're playing in the F-Zero map with the cars running in the background. Or the Mario Kart map with the cars running. And you can't control that. You can't say, no, I don't want to fight this person, because their plans of a competitive match don't line up with mine. You have to play at least once. So you're saying,
even if we do get a Wi-Fi indicator, I wouldn't even be able to decline the fucking match. So, all right. So
it's going to be trash when the match
Malik,
starts.
Riddle me fucking this. Why are these motherfuckers complaining they'll decline me when I can't even have the option to decline? I just saw my audio peak like a motherfucker, and I'm going to have to edit the fuck out of that right there. But
it's okay, bro. It doesn't matter, because we got to flame these Wi-Fi warriors, bro. It makes no sense.
How the fuck are you going to complain about I'm going to get denied when I don't even have the ability to deny?
Like, if you want to deny, you have to. If I was a LAN player and I want to deny you, I would have to remove my Switch, close the game, and then reopen the. I have to rage quit before the match starts to get away from you because I can't just hit a button and say no. I have to play at least one match with you, which odds are, given how online video games tend to work, if the netcode is trash, I'm probably going to lose a match and lose whatever, elo, whatever points, smash points.
Bro,
And then say, I've taken an L, let me leave, Nintendo, please.
I can't believe
First connections, Dustin, it's Wi-Fi, right? Because the issue with Wi-Fi, regardless of how great your Wi-Fi is, how great you think your bandwidth is, the issue is packet loss when it comes to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that your internet sucks. It's the fact that your internet is inconsistent. All internet is inconsistent. So you're fighting a Wi-Fi warrior where the first couple of seconds as the match loads is completely unplayable. Like I can't move, or I can't I can't even jump without a 10-second interval lag spike, and then it goes back to normal as soon as you lose a stock. That's clearly a Wi-Fi warrior because their internet took a dump sending packets to me, and then out of nowhere it acted as if it was completely fine. Those are the ones that suck because actually back up. When it comes to fighting games in general, not even just a Smash thing, the games that hurt the most are not the ones where I lose. It's the ones where I know had this been in a LAN setting, it would have been a lot closer of a dub. When you lose to something, if you're trying to make an action with your character and you physically can't make the character go where you want to go, or you get half of your button inputs, instead of a short hop, I get a full hop. Instead of Dragon Ball, if I don't get a reflect, I just get a standing S.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter, I don't get a Hadoken, I get a heavy punch just randomly sticking out there. I'm gonna cry because I'm gonna get punished for that obviously punishable thing when all you were doing was a smooth action. Don't do this to me.
Bro,
Sakurai, why?
I can't believe there's not even a decline button, bro.
You can't decline, dog. You can't decline. If I could stream this for you after this podcast is over and show you. I physically have to go into a queue, not get the match I want. I tell Nintendo I want to play a Evo level or tournament level match. I can't get that on request.
Because you gotta play fucking Little Timmy who wants to play all items. Little Timmy, fuck you.
Literally, this is what has to happen. If you bought a new copy of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? You have your Nintendo Switch. There is no Ethernet. This is another thing we didn't talk about yet. There's no Ethernet port built into the Switch or the dock. You have to buy your own dongle,
bro. Which is wild.
And this is the sad part. It don't even use that as a crutch either, because I ordered mine off Amazon and got it the next day, right? But had there even been an Ethernet port in the bad Switch, we already know those Wi-Fi warriors weren't going to plug an Ethernet cable in there. We're talking like a fraction of a percent of people would have been like, oh, there's an Ethernet port back here already, let me plug it in. The rest of them folks would have just left that thing empty, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that when you buy Smash Bros, you get your Switch, you plug it in, you play for Nintendo Online, you're paying for this internet capability, right? You get into the match queue, you have to fight at least 15 young boy Timmies, 10 to 15 young boy Timmies if you're good. I'm assuming you'll fight more than that. But let's say you have to deal with 15 trash, laggy, game stops, lose connection with opponent. You've accidentally SD'd off of the stage because of the air dodge matches to get into Elite Smash. Now that you're in Elite Smash, you're not guaranteed to always end up with a super serious Evo ready match player, but you are more likely to get less Timmies. You could still end up with a Timmy that's trying to learn how to play the game a little bit more. Maybe you got a Timmy who learned a combo or two, but he still has the items. You still have to hold that, and you can't decline it. These are all that you have to. This is a 2-weekend process for a regular person. If you're not a YouTuber or a streamer making content for that, if you're just an average player trying to get good at Smash Bros. And you want to emulate what you see on Twitch, you're gonna go through multiple days of just dredging through Timmys. Like, ridiculous. You're paying for this.
I want to bring this up real quick, just because I think it's funny and has nothing to do with this conversation. It's just because I've been looking at my Adobe Audition, as we've been talking. I got an Adobe ad earlier today, right? And I saw they were on Premiere, but I was just watching the audio bar and it was just in red the entire time. I'm like, bro, you gotta edit that shit.
Oh my God.
You gotta fix that audio, dude.
Just 0 decibels trying to kill somebody.
I was like, holy fuck. Nah, I hit 0 when I started getting upset here a little bit ago.
Oh my goodness.
So I gotta go in there and fix that shit.
I
Like
thought
a
you meant you were
responsible person.
I thought you meant you were like a 6 or a 3, not 0. Oh my goodness.
Nah, I got pretty loud.
But yeah, to end that, bro, I feel like there's nothing soccer. Do you think there's anything soccer I could have said to make you, like, you know, let it go, to like understand from his perspective? Oh, that makes sense. Because I think every translation of even probably what he really said in Japanese, I don't think there's anything he said that can convince me to go, okay, Sakurai, I see it from your perspective. That makes sense. I'll back on.
Honestly, I don't think there's any excuse that I would go, okay, yeah, I get it. I don't think there's anything that you could have said. If, oh, you know, we can't because of the game's limitations. Maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt that exists. But you can't. I would have respected a whole lot more you saying, I don't want to. Because I don't want to.
Yes.
Like, it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. We can't force you to put it in, you know? It is what it is. But if you don't want it because you don't want it, just say it. Don't give me some bull. Well, we don't want the players to discriminate against each other. You know, don't give me that bullshit.
Because what you're doing is taking the blame from the giant $1 million company to
the hardcore players. Like,
yeah, blame the FGC, blame the hardcore, you know, tournament scene for being tryhards, wanting to ruin your Smash Bros experience. You know,
like, it's wild, bro.
Don't do that. I don't like the idea, especially since in 2020 this has happened a lot, and 2019 and 2018 this has happened a lot.
What his comment did, where he was saying, oh, it would cause a divide in the community. His comment caused a divide in the community.
The thing you're trying to avoid with that comment literally caused that to happen. You are causing people to literally compare racism to internet.
Bro, that tweet was wild.
I could not believe I'm reading a tweet where an individual thinks it's justifiable to say me being a Wi-Fi warrior is like being discriminated against as an African American male, and I'm thinking
that shit was crazy.
In 2020, post everything that's happened, right?
Bro, dude, that dude had like 800 quote retweets. Dude, people were flaming him. It was the funniest shit.
I'm just thinking, where have you been during this whole pandemic? There's no way you could have missed all this.
The best one, and I watched Sejam's stream, like the stream after that whole shit happened, just to see if he would mention it. The funniest thing was, no other game does that. Give me a game that like does a Wi-Fi indicator. And then the tweet responding to it was, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, Skullgirl. Just listening, Tekken's about to do it. Like what the fuck do you mean?
Dog, I had this thought earlier, man. Once we get past 2020, Dustin, once we get past into 2021, if your game was mid-development, I'll probably exempt this from this example. But if your game started development in 2019, going onward to 2020, into the foreseeable future to get your development
looking at
phase
you, King of Fighters 15,
and you've made a game and it does not have rollback in it, I'm not supporting it anymore.
We're looking at you, King of Fighters 14 or 15.
King of Fighters 15, you've been in development long enough, and we've seen literally nothing. Different if we saw or a decent trailer of something of the game.
I think they said during the roundtable we're getting something soon.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Tokyo Game Show, which I think is around the corner, actually.
Like, again, for me to exempt King of Fighters from this statement I'm about to make, it would have to be literally next month. I better see everything about King of Fighters. It better not just be here's Kyo and K-Dash doing some combos against each other, and then a flash of flames, and it's King of Fighters 15.
It's actually next week, Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if it's not by next month, I don't want to hear that either, because we're moving into the next fiscal year if you do that. That's too long of a gap. And King of Fighters 15 wants to get out soon enough to make a decent bag because there's no certainty in how much money the FGC core fan base will have coming up in the next fiscal year. If you want to make sure you get a decent bag, you better make your product come out soon, right? And if your game's not coming out anytime soon, then you better have rollback netcoding. I'm not supporting it. I don't care anymore. If your game looks amazing, if your game looks awesome, even if your game has a cool combo system, I think I may like. But if I hear, hey, this game's coming out in 2022 and it doesn't have rollback, I'm not supporting it. I refuse now. Like, I gotta use my spending power the way I can as a consumer. This is ridiculous.
All right, I think that wraps up our thoughts on fucking Wi-Fi indicators. These fucking casuals. And actually going back into casual gamers, I don't know if you've seen this at all, Malik. I've been seeing it on I saw it on Twitter when I put it on the topic list. I haven't seen it lately, but
I've not heard about this. I saw you put on the topics list, and I had no clue where this came from.
I saw a tweet talking about it was my friend that like plays Smash was like, oh hey, you want to play Dragon Ball? And I said, yeah, sure, but I left the fight stick at home. And he said, oh, you got the fight stick? Never mind, I don't want to play. I'm good. It's something along those lines. And it's just like, are casual players of fighting games like scared when they friend pull out the fight stick, the hitbox, whatever?
You got any idea, or can I just hop on this, bro? Because you
can hop on it. Because like I was the pad player for the longest. So
yeah, to me, I don't think it's scared. I just think it's intimidated. If anything, intimidated is a better word. But the way I see it, Dustin, before I bought my fight stick, I would say I was in the same boat. There is a pre-notion that if you bought this thing and it's a custom controller designed to express who you are, and it looks different from mine, and it's designed for these games specifically, right, or this genre, you must be good, because I'm assuming it's like having a training instrument versus a brand new top-of-the-line instrument. Like, oh, I just have a training guitar, but you literally went out and bought yourself a guitar that costs as much as a car. You must be really good if you have that guitar in your house,
Yeah.
And my argument is that is a good assumption to make. If you see someone with a fight stick, odds are they know what the special moves are in the game. But that has no correlation to how good they are. You could have a fight stick or a hitbox and trash in a game.
Because I think we're also at the point
mediocre.
We're at a point now where you don't need a fight stick or a hitbox to be good.
Yeah.
Like, you literally look at like Street Fighter, just as one game as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Punk and Idon both play on pad.
Knuckle Dew
plays on pad.
Smuggy?
I didn't know Smug played on pad, if I'm being honest. But that's what? Two Capcom Cup champions for Street Fighter V alone, and Knuckle Dew and Idon play on pad. Out of the, 4 that there's been? For just Street Fighter V?
Yep.
You look at Sonic Fox. Oh, guess what? He plays on pad.
Literally every fighting game under this pad. And this is the thing I was going to say, right? If anything, playing on these controllers, these elaborate arcade machines that, when you think about it, going into 2020, arcades aren't really prevalent, especially in America, where you see a lot of American players using Japanese model and Korean model sticks. We're not Japanese and Korean. We don't have a Japanese or Korean arcade to play these things in, meaning we're emulating what we see on TV. I'm not someone who grew up in New York and went to Chinatown Fair, right? And played with Justin Wong or L.I. Joe and Marvel 2 on an arcade machine. And because of that, I don't need an arcade stick to learn to play the game. Me personally buying an arcade stick was a proof of an investment. That was my way to force myself to commit to fighting games and to get good, because I didn't like the way I felt on pad. Buying a controller is about preference and what you feel comfortable with. You can play on pad and feel uncomfortable with pad and want to try stick. That's what I did. I never felt comfortable playing on pad. But if I did, I wouldn't have seen the need to buy a fight stick. I would have been hesitant, and I would have never bought it.
Meanwhile, I was feeling kind of comfortable on pad, and I bought a hitbox.
That's why it threw me for a loop. You went through that hump phase where it's like, I don't know if he would do better on a stick or a hitbox, but then you toughed it out, because Dragon Ball was the game we just grinded all the heck and back. And once you grinded Dragon Ball, I was like, well, Dustin's now a decent pad player. There's no need for him to not do anything but pad. and then you just buy a random hitbox at Evo. I'm completely flabbergasted. But
And now I use the hitbox on every game but Dragon Ball.
yeah, so like to me, I get it. I get this segment. I completely understand from that person's side because I've been there when I was younger and watching Street Fighter 4 streams and thinking, man, having a stick is so cool, you know? But then the moment you get a stick and you learn to play on it and you see other people with sticks, you realize, oh shoot, just because they have a stick does not mean they're immediately better than me, does not mean they are at a certain status to play. That just means you also took the time to invest into these games. If anything, it's not a sign that you're good at the games. It's a sign that you really do care for these games, and it's a quick way to find a fan. It's a quick way to find a new friend, a new person to get lab with on Discord, if anything. If I see something at an event with a fight stick, I know, hey, I gotta talk to them and link up.
Because what we play, to reference it, us playing Tekken at your house with Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Granted, I picked up the stick and I won, and then I put the stick back down and I left. But
ready to play Bob, so.
Hey man, shut the fuck up, alright? Don't out me like that.
Don't out you, bro. If it wasn't gonna be me now, I definitely commented in the comment section. Don't believe a word this man says. This nigga picked Bob. Flying through his teeth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, overall, I'd say most fighting games now, like a game like Dragon, was designed in a way to cater to pad players. The button schemes going into the future for most fighting games are considering that you have a pad. That was a topic that came up during the Japanese roundtable for the FGC. That a lot of the devs were concerned whether they should now focus on their game always being played on pad, and the fighting game people who will play on fight sticks and hitboxes will have to figure out a control scheme for themselves and deal. Or do we cater to both? Or do we stick to catering to arcade machines? Because arcade machine releases aren't happening as much anymore. Games are typically just going straight to console ports, PC ports now.
Yeah.
So if anything, if you're a pad player, you are now more intimidating to me because it's almost like you're a DBZ character wearing weighted clothing. I can't tell you're in disguise. You could be a Sonic X level player, no Kami. You could be a no Kami level player. Another great FGC icon that plays on pad.
The Kill Sage plays on pad.
Hook Gang God, flipping.
Yeah, Hook plays on pad.
You got to think like it. To me, I see there's no excuse for. I don't know. It's one of those things where you doing that belittles everyone else who's good on pad. I could be a sleeper pad player and still body you, but you think you have you think, oh, Malik and I would be on even terms because we're both playing on the same controller. That has nothing to do with it. And when you play enough fighting games, not even fighting games, but any game, it would be the same if you were playing a shooter. Just because I have an Xbox Elite controller and you have an regular Xbox One controller, does not mean because I have the Elite controller I'm gonna win. It just means I've put a lot more money into the game.
Yeah, because I remember the thing when I was playing a bunch of COD coming up. The thing was get the scuff controller. You know, the paddles on the back. You know, it makes it so much easier. I was playing on a normalized controller and I was destroying lobbies. It's like you don't need the specialized controller to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the only time where it's like, ooh, is when you're like, oh, I play on controller and oh, I play on keyboard for shooters. It's like, ooh, that.
Yeah.
Depending on the game, it's a little easier to like bridge the gap, but like some games, dude, it's just not even fair. I would say that's the only time where it's like, oh, controller might matter. I would also say racing games, a controller might matter a little more. You know, obviously, having the wheel and pedals, you're a little more accurate with your inputs.
Well, but that you got to think that in racing games with the racing chair and the wheel, that's emulating a real life action, and in that real life action, you actually have a steering. You know,
that's also true.
You're attempting with especially a simulation racer, not a arcade style racer, but this is a attempt to get a 1-to-1 reenactment of what a car racer will do. It makes sense that same interface and same apparatus that the racer is going to use in that professional way, you would probably need that to get that same feel. Because you can't drive. Well, most people aren't advised to drive a car with two thumbsticks and a trigger. I don't see anyone driving a Tesla with two thumbsticks and a trigger. So until we get to that point in the future, it's not going to be the same feeling, which makes sense. But old fighting games, you could always argue that, okay, these games were designed to be in an arcade first, and then they ported the console. That's why a fight stick would make sense. Okay, but that's no longer the case. Fighting games are going through the way of simplification and finding ways to get new players, which includes pad. So that old argument is now false. I don't believe it. So, to me, if 2020 going forward says I'm scared to fight a fight stick or a hitbox player more, I think you just got to play more people, because that tells me you're probably uncomfortable playing other people who you already know are better. Like, if I told you if I played on pad, but I told you I won some tournaments, you probably wouldn't play me anyway. You're scared to get a butt whooping. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
That's a fear of losing. That's not a fear of getting destroyed, because if anything, that hitbox player or stick player, if they were way better than you, that's probably an avenue to get good and beat. That's how I got good at fighting games.
Me pulling out that hitbox could have been my first time ever pulling the hitbox out.
Yeah. Like, oh my, that's even a better one. Thank you. Like, you don't even know how long I've had it. I could have bought it 2 weeks ago. Maybe this is a match I want to practice fighting a person, face to face, and see how good I am at practicing with it.
Like, I remember when I was in that MK pool, right? And I was like, oh, this shit's over. I pulled out the hitbox, and someone was like, oh, shit, he's got a hitbox? I was like, bro, you about to...
Well, that happened. Yeah, I forgot. Yes.
I'm like, bro, I wouldn't be saying that shit. I bought this shit an hour ago.
For that man's knowledge, he thought you were putting weighted clothing on yourself. He thought this was not your final form and you were about to turn up. But actually, you were putting a handicap on top of your handicap.
I was like, bro, I don't know what you mean. This is an L waiting to happen for me.
So I'll say this, right? Controllers, people like to tell you in fighting games and in most competitive games, controllers don't matter. I say they do, right? But not in it's not a black or white issue. It's not cold cut. If you don't have a fight stick or a hitbox, you're not about it. You're not a good player. It's if you've never tried and you don't feel comfortable with you're currently using, I would say give it a shot. I think there was a lot of people out there that might actually have been in the same boat I was, where pad isn't for you. And you might need to try a fight stick, but they're not cheap, and we don't have locals anymore or any way for you to just try a fight stick. It's not like an actual instrument store. You can't just walk into a shop and try a fight stick for 10 minutes and see if you like it or not. So I get it. But to me, that's just part of the fun. That was a leap of faith. That's what you do for your hobbies. There are plenty of people who have other hobbies that aren't video game related. Will buy something for that hobby, and if it doesn't work out, now they just have that thing like lying around the house until it's up.
Did you watch the Roshi's showcase yesterday?
I watched some highlight reels of it. I did not watch the whole thing because
I need you to cover it for me because I ain't watched that shit. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, so in the showcase we got an actual Roshi trailer, which actually pissed me a little bit. That ticked me off because it proved that Arxis was aware that it was so trash that we got what we did for the reveal trailer. Because I don't recall. Remind me if I'm misremembering, Dustin, but I don't recall there ever being a point where we got a reveal trailer for a character and a release trailer for a character. I just remember them being the same trailer, where the cooler trailer and the 17 trailer is the cooler trailer and the 17 trailer from EVA. There was no second trailer after they were released. I'm wrong on that. Check me on that. But the fact that Roshi got a reveal trailer that was 30 seconds long, including the build up to the trailer and the 2 seconds of him moving and his victory animation, tells me Arxis knew they effed up from the backlash on social media and said, all right, now let's make him an actual trailer. Which then I ask you, why even bother trying to show Roshi when you didn't have to? You could have just hyped up the stuff for the year and said, maybe we'll give you a character reveal soon, which would have been better to do character reveal. I think Arxis would do way better, right? If we get these short trailers, but immediately after the short trailer, we get the actual 2 hours of the Roshi talk and the gameplay. I think gamers would very much stay tuned to the broadcast and watch that instead of waiting for the Roshi reveal. You to spoil the Roshi reveal before it's actually shown on stream. Then we say, oh, that was trash. That was 2 seconds long. We all leave the stream, but you have more important things you want to say to the community, but we've all left the stream by that point. And we wait till the YouTube personalities that re-upload the Cliff Note versions of what you said afterward to care about it on Twitter. That's what's happening. If you have to work on your marketability, people. It's garbage.
I agree.
Absolute trash. So in the talk, we did get a decent chunk of Roshi gameplay. We got the patch notes, but before we get into the patch notes, Roshi was we got all his special moves, we got some basic combos, we got some actually deep down elaboration on how you can explore a move. Like his key blast is different from most people. This is how you could probably try when the lab monsters get a hand of him, what to do. We got two TOD shown off. One practical one and one that I think isn't really that great. But we got some really cool synergy ideas. B&Bs, how do you get slide and knockdown versus resets. The explanation on how some of his moves work versus how they looked in the trailer. Like, it looked as if he had a grab in the first trailer, but it wasn't a grab. It's a move that instantly crosses up the opponent.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, he gets a move that instantly crosses up the opponent and a command grab. So he has both options. He can left-right you with a move, and he can grab you. And what else? Oh, cool thing about the grab I really like about Roshi is that even if you punch Roshi on the startup of the move, if he begins to wiggle his hands and do paralysis for the grab, your opponent gets staggered. So you will counter hit Roshi, the screen will say counter. You both will be frozen, and the Roshi you counter hit will still get the recover and punish you for jabbing him in the face for the grab startup. It's so stupid. And the left-right mix, you can combo off of it by yourself with Vanish or with an assist. So Roshi actually has decent mix. It's not base Vegeta mix levels of craziness or Kid Buu. But I would say if you're a newer player to the game or you're playing at an intermediate level, I'd say your opponent's probably not going to want to block. They're probably going to be mashing while they're in block stun, and that's going to open them up almost every time. So for the non-Evo Grand Finals player, for the novice player, you're going to have a fun time with Roshi. I just give him a shot. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on Roshi already, following up the top tier characters, but I think we might have a decent shot here. Roshi as a mid or a point would be pretty cool.
So now the patch notes. How do you want to do this, Malik? How do you want to go through these patch notes? Just things that we see that are noticeable,
Like, first things first, I'd say let's just skip all the assist stuff. Essentially, a lot of assists are being reworked to be more practical in combos. Yeah, a lot of assists are being reworked strictly just for the sake of either block stun, hit stun, combo use. All C assists are being sped up, well, not because we don't actually have, concrete evidence from the patch to compare. So I don't want to, overstep, but at least some of the C assists, a vast majority of them will be sped up if they're not done in the combo. I'm hoping this means a lot of the C assists that people throw out in block strings or to catch their opponent in neutral, instead of taking 5 years to eventually do their action and get counter hit, that will relieve them. Because that happens a lot when I play games. My C assist character is summoned, they stand around way too long, and instead of actually covering me with their assist, it's just they get clapped in the face for a couple hits and then leave. So I'm looking forward to that change to see how beneficial that will be across the board. Everyone else's assists, A or B assists, got tweaked a little bit, at the very least. Very few people got no changes. I believe Zamasu was the only one that got absolutely nothing changed, unfortunately.
I want to say Kid Buu as well, I think.
Who?
Kid Buu?
Kid Buu? Oh yeah, Kid Buu no changes, meaning Kid Buu, that's a buff. Kid Buu not getting any changes in this patch is technically a buff because he did not get nerfed. What this patch has proven to me is that Kid Buu on a fundamental level is good, meaning there's nothing Arxis can do without neutering the character like 16, which they're trying to undo in this patch, can achieve. Like Bardock, Kid Buu, and Base Vegeta, Broly, flipping GT Goku. Those characters we've seen in this patch, or at the very least, either Arxis isn't ready to nerf them into the ground or rework them, or they are comfortable with where they is what this means. All right, now we can get into the major buffs. So if you want to start with your boy, feel free.
Well, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna start going down the list in like order of all these characters, starting
Shouts
with
to Videl and Jiren players. It's your heyday.
well, from what I'm saying, Jiren's buffs didn't even really do a whole lot, even though like some of them look nice, but it's still not great for Jiren, according to some people on Twitter. Goku's crouching M got sped up again. It's not. I mean, sure. Piccolo got some nice buffs.
I'm shocked with Piccolo buffs. I'm shocked, to be honest. I thought that because you have people like Apology Man and Hook Game God playing them at a tournament level, that Arxis would mistake that as this character is too good and nerf them. But I think it's important to know that just because someone won Evo with the character doesn't mean the rest of the player base can utilize that character in the same way, right? So that's good. Shouts to Piccolo.
Both Teen Gohan assists that I do not use got maybe buffed. Looks like maybe nerfed. I don't even know. Let's see. Cell got some buffs.
Yeah, I actually want to play Cell again from the footage that we saw.
It looks like Gotenks got changed quite a bit.
Gotenks might sneak back up the tier list, I suspect it. From some of the changes. There are little things that I assume no one's going to care about.
It's just like change distance, adjusted knockback. Like it's not even like damage increases.
See, to me, it's not the damage. It's the fact that you can use donut and disc in different ways now to cover yourself. Like, whenever a Gotenks who's on crack throws out a disc or a punch might get punished for it, and now they can do better things to recover and catch themselves from getting clapped.
Okay. Krillin got some increased distant moves during some of his heavy and medium attacks. 16 looks like got some buffs.
Mainly 16 buffs boil down to he will hopefully be able to combo without the use of assists off of his grabs. Or
you can now super dash after hitting the grab.
Most of his B&Bs, 16 along with, I'd say Fabu is the worst contender in the roster, as a character that pretty much can't do anything unless they have assists backing them, a specific assist backing them, or a specific type.
Now probably the character with the most changes and the biggest buffs is my boy Tien.
Why did this character get buffed? I don't understand it though.
Crouching medium increased duration and extended the hitbox. Oh yes. Standing unique sped up startup, which is that. Standing unique would just be regular key, but that's not even all right. Jumping light extended hitbox. Jumping unique attack. Or was it? Oh, it's done alright. Okay. Volleyball fist is adjusted difference moved during the midair version of the attack. Okay. Increased damage to volleyball fist heavies. Nice. Reduced distance moved when the guard's attacked on crane strike. Okay. Reduced recovery, so that means I recover quicker, correct?
Yeah, essentially crane hit, if you don't do it without an assist, right? If you call an assist and I can't 2H it, then you might be able to get some decent left-right mix, high-low mix off of the crane kick. That's what that tells me. You're probably going to be able to crane kick, call assist before the crane kick, left-right mix up, down-low mix up your opponent, because Tien has a 2 out low, right?
Do what?
Does Tien have a 2L low as a button?
I assume so. I think.
Yeah. So you should be able to left right mix 2L low. Is Tien now off of Balcony?
Dodon Ray, you now fall as you're doing Dodon Ray in midair, which is outrageous. Both tri-beams reduced HP consumed when there's no allies left, so it helps a lot for me if somehow I lose my base coup in Team Gohan and I gotta just wrap it up with Tien. Oh, thank God. Chiaotzu has increased damage now.
I don't want to believe. I read that. You don't understand. Viewers, you don't understand. Dustin, you understand. I read that note, and I prayed you wouldn't read the patch note, and I fell out of my chair.
Bro, I was just sitting there on Twitter, and everyone was like, "Yo, Tien is gonna be nasty." I was like, "What do you mean, yo?" And I started looking at his patch. I was like, "Oh my God."
I cannot believe the thought of either two things, right? Because they're not specific, because these are Japanese to English patch notes, right? But I don't know whether it's the max damage capacity has been increased or the minimum scale damage after a combo has been increased, because that tends to not always be the same thing. Japan doesn't differentiate the two sometimes in the patch notes. They just say increased damage. But one of those two things, if not both, could have been increased. If both were increased, then Chiaotzu was like the best level 3. Probably now the best hands down level 3 in terms of combo scaling. If one or the other was increased, it's still a pretty solid 3. The idea, though, of I think I'm going to live and Chiaotzu does as much damage as a super into Spirit Bomb, like a DHC into a Spirit Bomb, is going to be ridiculous. We're getting close to Spirit Bomb. Not exactly, almost there. You're going to have TODs where you could have done base coup to Spirit Bomb to finish it. Now you can finish it with Chiaotzu. That's scary. That's actually scary. People who play base coup just because they want the Spirit Bomb for the TOD because it's mad easy to get that damage up, you can just put Tien there if you want.
Well, you can't end with Chiaotzu. It goes into Neo Tri-Beam.
If you goes Neo Tri-Beam? No, because like all you have to do is find a super. Like basically, if you find a super, right, that would normally let you charge, like if you do half circle and then come out, like how Piccolo's able to stop. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you get a flip out and you call Tien, you get some cheese, or you just do a whole solo TOD with Tien. I'm expecting it'll just be solo TODs with Tien.
Was Base Coup not touched? Or was it just... I'm assuming this is Base Coup. 3 times Kaioken Kamehameha. Delay the time you needed to perform the ultimate Z change. I mean, getting ×3... That one's hard to like get a combo after because he's so high up. You might be able to do it with Tien, maybe. That might be something I try later.
Like almost all beam attacks are getting this weird property change to them, to where now they like multi-hit and ground bounce at the end. So I don't know if that means they're trying to stop people from getting a Kamehameha or some kind of beam to connect, and they're to get anything off of it, they have the advantage. They want it to be, if you're close enough and you land a beam, you can just do a non-vanish combo first. I think that's going to be pretty cool to see how that turns out. I haven't seen any footage on how that looks, like some of the other things from the patch.
The most outrageous thing out of all the Tien stuff, the funniest thing I've seen out of all my characters that I play, is Goku B assist, which is the small spear bomb, where he charges the spear ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and gains meter. Mainly is a meter.
Yeah, it gains meter, but now they increased the meter gain.
Oh my god!
Originally it was like 75%. Now it's like you gain a full bar.
Dog, I might have to play base coup. This is not.
Bro, like Tien is about to be point, just so I can run B assist Goku and just.
You don't even play that assist, dog. That's the part that's baffling my mind.
Yeah. It's like I'm about to switch assist.
Like the amount of meter your team burns, right? And the idea that every second of the match you could just
I can just gain meter.
You get think about it. You do universal combo, you get a bar and a half to
even as like I have you up in the air, I can just call Goku to just gain assist while I'm just up here comboing you.
Yeah. That's just the thing, like the moment Goku comes up, you just hit it. There's no reason not to hit it. That is a free bar of meter.
It's outrageous, dude. Obviously, then you'll throw the ball the next time he comes out, but
Oh, does that wait? Does it do that? I thought
I
it just
think
charged
so.
every time.
I thought he does it.
No,
Or does he
Every
charge
time.
up to 3, and then when I switch to Goku, does it finally fucking work?
Yeah. So the way it works is, no matter how many times you call it base coup, he's just gonna charge ki for you. And then if you hit it 3 times, when you call in base coup as the point character, he will have the level 3 Tiny Spirit Bomb that combos into Dom.
Because
Meaning
that's
there's
the reason I didn't use it, because I was like, why the fuck am I only getting 1 level of the ball? Like, I don't want this shit.
If you spam that shit, you get 3 times you call it base coup, then you tag him in, and it's, oh, now you have level 3 Spirit Ball.
Oh, fuck, dude. Tien's on point.
So again, your team, if you actually stick to Tien after this patch, bro, your team's nasty. And
bro, how am I not going to stick to Tien after this patch? Do you see the changes?
I don't know, bro. Tell me. You tell me. Dog. I'll be sitting here. I'll wait till next podcast or a couple of weeks from after, like 2 podcasts later. We recap, and I can tell the people your team's changed twice since then.
Nah.
I don't know.
Bro, I've been running the same team since Evo. I might throw in Bardock every once in a while, but like that's kind of just when I'm not doing well, and I'm like, I need to change of pace for a second.
Bro, I have to actually play base coup. Do you know how easy it is to get a TOD now? You don't even have to try. You can just flip and do 2, and you can 2-touch anyone in the game. It's literally universal combo called base coup, reset from some mix-up or a high-low in the corner because they got the good corner carry. Land your corner B&B combo because it's more damage than universal combo, right? While you're doing your universal, call base coup again. Now you guarantee have 4 bars of meter right there. Almost, if not entirely 4 bars. If this is the second combo starter and it wasn't super scaled, like triple scaled or off of a beam vanish confirmed, you're going to kill someone. Because all you have to do is level 1 into level 3. Or if you're someone like Tien who has a 2-bar super, level 2 into level 1 into level 1 and that person's dead. You've killed that person. I don't think people are actually thinking this through, bro.
I'm just saying, let me Chaozu in the air.
No, that's stupid. Don't do that. Why would I let you do that? You already have Neo Tribeam, dude. Think about it. Neo Tribeam was spark activated. You're not killing yourself. It's like sneezable damage. If you're Neo Tri-beaming and Spark with Tien after this patch, it makes no difference if you give up that health or not, because you're probably 1 touch from dying anyway. You're probably 1 decent hit combo from kill. And now with Spark activated, you're not going to die off of Vanish Confirm. You might get close, but you're probably not going to die either. You're good. There's no risk. It's like flipping Carbine from Uni, dog. After a certain point, the risk is gone.
I can't wait to keep using my team. While your team barely got touched.
I mean, I'm happy for the one thing Cooler got. That was nice. I'm happy S Broly didn't get touched because that means he didn't get nerfed. He's a really good character. I was afraid they were going to nerf S Broly because of all the cool combos he can do. But yeah, my current team, I play it because I like the cool combos. If the damage got reduced, it sucks to suck, but I'd still play them. I just don't want the different routes or the fact that there's a lot of options. Like another Janemba player can look completely different from me because there's so many different things you can try. I don't want that to leave. I think that makes the character unique. So I'm cool with it. I wish Janemba got buffed like a little bit more, like a smidgen.
It is interesting when you look at some of these like changes, like Gogeta getting, I guess, buffs. Like his moves just got like sped up startups.
Yeah, like, a lot of his moves had.
I'm like, does he really need these though? Like,
I mean,
no damage increases. It's just like startups.
No, his damage is good. It's just the fact that he can't hit people. He has a hard time hitting people and opening people up after the first couple of weeks where people didn't know how to fight him. But once people figured out, like, you just have to block against Gogeta and don't get hit with the command grab. That leads into TODs, and you're fine.
What the fuck? Some of these, like, fixes, not changes, but, like, fixes, are like hilarious. Like UI, fix an issue in which that an ally would remain on screen. It's like, okay, well I don't play UI and you don't either, but like, what the fuck is happening? Why is that just getting fixed?
Seeing UI was like, oh, we're gonna. I don't. This means either two things. Seeing the UI change tells me one of two things: either Arxis is okay with the status quo, or they're holding off until the next official Arc System Works tournament where they can collect more concrete data in person, right?
Yeah.
Because online, this game's online experience is vastly different than the in-person local tournament meta. It's two different things. Base Vegeta or any character that has an EX move like Yamcha sprinting across the screen, or a character who has a universal low across the screen, or a beam or fast key blast like Jiren now has his key blast vulnerable. Those things smoke everyone online because they've already committed to an action. But in person, you could easily block that or check a Dragon Rush. So that's going to skew how things look. So by the end of this season, whenever that may be in 2023, who knows? I'm curious to see if Arxis will in fact nerf UI or rework him in the next patch. I think they're waiting to see how an in-person tournament in their own pro league will play that character before they make anything truly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, that's all I really got for this episode.
Oh yeah, last thing.
Oh.
I don't know why this came back in my head. With the Roshi universal command grab, like on air unblockable.
Yeah.
Basically, because it's if a Roshi is doing it, you can backdash it if you haven't already spent your air option. That's the only way you can get out of it. But because people hold up back, and that means they probably spent their double jump immediately, they're probably not going to be able to.
Oh.
Food for thought. If a Roshi's gonna, try to get you out the air, just backdash the shit, you're fine.
Interesting.
That's all I got, people.
Well, everyone, I think that concludes our episode for today.
Don't be Wi-Fi Warrior trash. We're better than that. I know you're better than that.
Isn't there a direct? I thought I saw something about a direct is happening soon.
There's like the PlayStation 5 thing is like a few days
The PlayStation
from now.
thing is on Thursday.
Yeah. Roshi drops on Thursday too with the patch. I want to say there is something else.
I thought I saw something about a direct, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know the PlayStation is Thursday. Roshi drops Thursday. The patch is already out on PlayStation, by the way.
Oh, it's out on PlayStation?
Yeah, I just saw someone tweet about it.
Oh, shoot, I'm about to do that before I go.
But yeah, me and Malik might watch the PlayStation thing, do a reaction on the price possibly.
I might just do a compilation of that and split it the whole thing. Yeah, depending on how long it is.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what time it is. Because if it's too early, I'm not fucking waking up for it. I'll just catch the price when I wake up in the morning. Because that's all we're really waiting for. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That's all I really got. Malik, you got any final thoughts?
Buy an Ethernet cable, please.
Yep. We'll leave a link to an Ethernet cable, a trusted Ethernet cable company down in the description below. We'll leave a router also. We'll even put the Switch Ethernet adapter. We'll put a link to that in the description.
Bro, yes, we're putting that shit in the description. Yes.
That's all I got. Have a nice one.
Good night.